Welcome back to another episode of Confessions of a Recruiter. We are on a mission to build the world's largest community of recruiters, so we appreciate you guys listening every week.
But before we get on with the show, there's a few places that you can check us out. You can check us out on our Discord, XR House, where we're going to be dropping Discord-only content, freebies, giveaways. You can jump on to confessions.tv, check out our store. We've got Confessions of a Recruiter merch. You can buy hats, shirts, socks, coffee, all that kind of good stuff, and definitely subscribe to our newsletter. We've got a bi-weekly Confessions of a Recruiter newsletter where you can get a nice concentrated 2-minute snapshot on all our podcast guests and what we get up to. So without further ado, we hope you enjoy this episode.
All right, well, let's kick this off, mate. We've had our first fuck up. So big Lee Pollard from P&C Partners came in and bought us a beautiful, beautiful bottle of scotch. And the system just didn't work. We were an hour in, 50 minutes into a podcast, and we realised... Did
we actually watch back the video, and did you
turn it off?
Yeah.
Mate, no, I love accountability.
Did we? Oh, mate, we got to watch back that video, and we got to see if you were the catalyst of why this happened.
I'll buy Lee a $1,200 bottle of scotch if I was the catalyst of that happening.
You're pretty confident.
I am very confident, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was a little bit disappointing. We've never had a situation where we've actually sat down, done a full podcast, and then realised it wasn't recording. So, you live and you learn these things. So this week, we're going to just have a little bit of a riff in some catching up with some news, some announcements, covering off a couple of things that are coming up shortly. We're going to get Lee back on the podcast anyway, and we're going to go have a crack at round two because the podcast with Lee was really, really good.
Oh, there's a thing that I like about him is he's just genuine, authentic, good bloke, and gets it.
Sometimes a lot of people we talk to, sometimes, there's a little bit of smoke and mirrors. They get a little bit cautious on saying things. It's politically correct. It's this, it's that. Whereas with Lee, it's just he shoots straight and you can have a really genuine, honest conversation with him, which is really nice.
And he's got a wealth of experience. Like, he's a gun car salesman.
Yeah.
Then got into recruitment.
Yeah.
Done some big things at Roberts, and then had his own agency for 3.5 years. So, yeah, I reckon it'll be a really good podcast once we actually record one with him.
Yeah,
so we'll
agree.
tee that up.
All right, so what do we got? Let's dive into a couple of announcements. What's happening in the world of recruitment?
Well, our world of recruitment, we've become a preferred partner of the RCSA, which is just, mate, it's huge news. This deal took, six months, festering around in the background.
Yeah.
Put together.
Yeah. So for anyone that isn't familiar with RCSA, so they're the industry body of Recruitment Consulting Staffing Australia. I think that's what RCSA stands for.
Yep.
And they're a really, really good contender to have in your corner where you're trying to do the right thing by the industry, compliance, legal, and operating at a high level with high ethics and standards. So they're a very big believer in our industry. They're always trying to push not commercial, money-making things or anything along those lines. They're all about making sure that recruitment is represented really well, and we're all doing the right thing by candidates, clients, and each other. So they're a huge value add in our industry, and I think it's really special that we've got an industry body that is so passionate about us, and we're so passionate about them as well. So we're all in this together. We're all better together, as they say, and it's pretty exciting news that we're a preferred partner. So what does that actually mean, though? What is being a preferred partner with RCSA and Xrecruiter? What does that give recruiters? How does that actually benefit the industry?
Well, as a whole, so there's, like you said, learning development, training, courses, industry contacts, actually understanding that there is a whole community of recruiters that are like-minded, so you can have the backing and support. If we talk about the benefit to Xrecruiter, there's obviously all of that, the events, national conferences, also automatic membership to the RCSA, so everything is virtually, at your fingertips, and they are a non-for-profit, so they don't make decisions based on pure commercials like most businesses, which is that they're really there to facilitate and make sure that everyone's playing above board as compliance in Australia is getting stricter and stricter. So you want to make sure that you've got the right people in your corner when you are opening an agency and referring staff, even for perm businesses, even though it's like, those things, you would just want to make sure you got all your ducks in a row, and that's what they facilitate and do a really good job of.
Yeah, so I think it's really good that now that Xrecruiter are a partner with RCSA, anyone that joins Xrecruiter as a new agency or they start their agency or an existing agency that are just looking for a business that will help them with their branding, their marketing, their tech, their back office, anyone that joins Xrecruiter is automatically a member with RCSA. So I think that's really, really good. It's a wealth of extra support and knowledge and guidance that you would get over and above just Xrecruiter. So that's really, really special.
And they don't hand these things out like lollies. Like, it took 7 months back and forth of them understanding us, who we're about, who we are, for them to be able to give us the partnership. So
exactly. So that's really special. So anyone interested in having a look at RCSA, you can jump on their website, rcsa.com.au. You can check out all their material. You can sign up to be an RCSA member, or you can join Xrecruiter and you'll automatically be an RCSA member. So you've got 2 options there. However, another exciting piece of news is the Talent X conference.
huge.
Massive.
This is the event of all events. If you're a recruiter in Australia, you want to be one of the 600 people getting a ticket to this event.
Yeah. So RCSA are putting on an industry event called Talent X. It's on the 1st of June. It's at the Sydney Exhibition Centre.
No, International Convention Centre.
International
Darling
Convention
Harbour.
Centre. What time does it start?
9 a.m.
Okay. So tickets. How do you get tickets if you wanted to go to the Talent X?
RCSA website. Wherever you hear this podcast, we'll put details in the link.
Yeah. Can
Show
we
notes.
put like a link, like a, I don't know if is it like Eventbrite, or do you buy them off RCSA
No, you buy
directly?
that. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So we'll put a
Correct.
link for anyone that's watching, listening, in the description of this post, so you're able to buy tickets and attend. Declan and I are also attending. We're exhibiting. So we're actually driving from Brisbane down to Sydney with a big RV with our face all over it. The Xrecruiter, Confessions of a Recruiter podcast is hitting the road.
And RCSA sponsored.
RCSA sponsored. That's important as well. So we're kind of doing this as a bit of a joint fun and exciting moment in presenting it at an exhibition, basically. So we're going to be parking the RV on the exhibition floor. We're going to be walking around, emceeing, having a chat to some people with some microphones. XR Media, the boys, will be following us around as well. So it'll be a bit of a vlog style situation. So we'd be really keen to run into anyone that will be attending Talent X. If you're not attending Talent X, we suggest you get tickets and we can catch up. And if you ever want to be on the podcast, we're going to be doing some live podcasting on the floor. So any recruiters that want to join and sit down with us and have a bit of a yarn or confess their sins away, we're very excited to get you in front of the camera.
And mate, we haven't fully put it in, but we leave Brisbane and arrive in Sydney, but we're going to Parks, Newcastle, Northern Beaches. Like, it is going to be one hell of a road trip.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. So tune in. I think we leave on the 28th.
Yeah, the last 26th, the last
26th.
weekend.
So we'll
May.
be posting something every day for the next week. Well, for the week leading up to Talent X. So yeah, tune in and keep an eye out on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, etc.
But the show doesn't stop at Talent X, because straight after that, we are a part of a 400-person yacht taking everyone to the annual awards night.
Yeah, that'd
in
be
Sydney Harbour.
Yeah, the black tie event.
Black tie event. We've got our tux. All 4 of us, the media crew and us, are all going to be ready to rock and roll.
Can people buy tickets to that?
Yeah,
How do you buy tickets to that?
we'll put in the link. RCSA Awards night.
Click the link. Black tie event. Bit of a party. Is there anyone going to be going to work on Friday?
Not us, mate.
Yeah. Wow.
We're going to try and find a way, try and get this RV back to Brisbane by Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Well, if anyone's out around Sydney during the week of the 26th to the 2nd, roughly, and you want to catch up, shoot us a DM on Instagram. We'd be able to catch up with any recruiters in and around Sydney CBD. That'll be super fun.
On Tuesday, we will have a bit of a free day. So Monday, we're going to be in Newcastle. Sunday, we'll be in Parks. Monday, Newcastle. Tuesday, we'll be around Sydney. So we've got a pretty open day to do podcasts there. We can drive to your office if it's applicable. Wednesday, we'll be parking the RV in the expo, getting ready for the show on Thursday. So we'll be podcasting from the RCSA office on Wednesday. So we've got some great guests and some heavy hitters in the industry. So I'm excited.
Yep, that'll be good. Okay, what's next? What else are we talking about here?
Mate, we have confessions.tv. I think we need to explain to everyone what that is fast becoming.
Yeah, so confessions.tv is a new domain that we have purchased for Confessions of a Recruiter. Now, the idea and concept behind confessions.tv is we want to separate Xrecruiter and Confessions. We're going to be doing a Confessions show, which will be tailored around HR, politics, employment, whatever it might be, where at the moment we've got our podcast, which we sit down with recruiters, find out about how they do things, why they do things, and educate ourselves from another person's perspective on the industry. But the show, I think, is going to be really fun because it'll just be the opinions of two recruiters around whatever's happening that given week. It's going to be a bit more laid back, a bit more chill. We're just going to be riffing and talking about. Funny. Well, you'd hope for it to be funny. But that'll be really, really good too. So we've got a couple of things actually that I wanted to talk about on this podcast leading into what the show is going to be. But before I move there, actually, I'll finish my thought on confessions.tv. So confessions.tv will be much more of a media arm where there'll be shows, there'll be videos, there'll be content, aiming to have like a merch store. So if you ever want to buy Confessions merch, you can do that. Probably cool little giveaways and promos and things like this around Confessions would be really, really cool to have there. But confessions.tv is now what we're going to, I guess, grow up into and separate Xrecruiter and then Confessions, so they kind of have their own identities and kind of their own places to be shown. Have I missed anything from confessions.tv?
No, I think it's a great idea.
We haven't created a website yet, so we still need to create a website and get it all live, but we've got the domain. So if you go to confessions.tv right now, nothing's doing, but maybe in 4 to 6 weeks, it'll be up and running and ready to rock and roll. So that's another exciting piece of news. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about firstly is we've been speaking to obviously a lot of recruiters over the last 9 months, and a lot of feedback that we get is, I'm stable, I'm happy, I'm in my job right now, there's security, and there's no reason for me to leave. What if I fail starting my own agency? I think that's a really big one. Failure is something that is pretty scary and no one wants to do. However, what is actually really interesting is this week, go-to people entered voluntary administration. So I'm just going to quickly read this. So according to Business News, the go-to group, which comprises of go-to recruitment, the go-to people, skill hire training and apprenticeships, NARA training and assessing, and Hunter executive search consultants.
They just bought them.
Yeah. Cited legacy Australian tax office liabilities as one of the reasons to call into voluntary administration. In addition to the legal dispute of one of its clients, so it seems here, and if anyone's got any actual insights on this, I'm just reading news, so if you've got any insights, send us a message or maybe comment below. But in addition to the legal dispute with one of its clients, it failed to pay superannuation in its entities on time and estimated a $3.1 million liability payment to the ATO. GoTo sought to raise $3.2 million via a rights issue offer towards its ATO liabilities in November. On Monday, they appointed voluntary administrators, which I think just basically means that they are trying to get a loan or they're trying to sell the business and get acquired by someone to keep things rolling. It also says here, the administrators intend to continue operating the go-to group on a business as usual basis, while options for the sale and or recapitalisation of the business are explored. To this end, the administrators have agreed to work with Interwork, which undertakes due diligence on the go-to group with the intention of submitting a sale or recapitalisation proposal to the administrators. So go-to people are obviously pretty big.
Huge.
Now, the thing that I find really strange about this is big business, are they publicly traded?
Yep.
Big business, and they're failing to pay superannuation for its employees. And I would say that a $3 million liability is not very big for such a big company. So you have all these recruiters at Go-To Group that are possibly really good at what they do. They're making their business money from their desk, but they're still at risk of losing their job, unfortunately, because of potentially other business issues that this agency is facing.
beyond their control.
Beyond their control, yeah. So it's interesting to see things like this happen when we're talking to recruiters that are like crushing it. You know, they're billing $500K to $1 million a year. They're like, look, I would never leave where I am. It's safe here. But what they don't possibly realize is just because they're doing a good job at their agency doesn't mean their agency is not above board. You know, I don't know how the Go-To Group operates. They're probably a great business, but when you get put into a voluntary administration or you choose to do that, that basically means that you're on the brink, as far as I'm aware or understand it. So, you know, you've possibly got all these recruiters that are about to lose their jobs through no fault of their own. They might be doing exceptionally well in their roles, but unfortunately, they get the can. I know
some of them. They're good.
Yeah. So, you know, I guess that kind of throws out the whole, you know, I'm safe and secure and stable here at my business because I'm billing well. But unfortunately, that you might be doing well as an individual, but if your business behind the scenes that you'll never know about isn't doing well, then, you know, you're just as at risk on your own, running your own business by yourself, probably less at risk than you are working for someone else's business that might not be doing the right thing anyway. So, bit of a thought thing there. I thought that was really interesting that, you know, we've got such a big player in the industry that are going into voluntary administration. Hopefully it all works itself out and you know, they kind of work their way out of this and someone acquires them and everything's, you know, as they say, business as usual. But I'm not sure what the statistics are where, you know, 80% of people that go into it, voluntary administration don't make it and then they end up liquidating, or you know, 50%, or what that, you know, what that kind of statistic looks like. But, you know, I wouldn't imagine it's great odds when your business is in voluntary administration. So that's an interesting one. If anyone's got any information on that or insights that we're probably lacking, then we'd love to be able to hear some feedback or some comments, or maybe someone to shed some light on that situation and what they think the possible outcomes are.
Hey, just wanted to jump in here. We got a confessions hotline, so give us a call, send us a text if you want to share any juicy stories, or even just ask a question that's been on your mind, because we'd love to hear from you. The phone number is 0485 865 483. Enjoy the rest of the show. Well, mate, I don't know if you've ever been on it, but shortlist.net.au. It's a pretty good recruitment resource.
Shortlist.com.au. What are they about?
Oh, everything recruitment related. So like Adecco's got a new brand for a smart industry leader, Adecco Group, new brand.
I'm on shortlist.com.au, mate. It's about private tours in the Yarra Valley.
Shortlist.net.au. Oh. So yeah, really, it's, mate, recruitment's top news. So yeah, key client debt. So it's just making sure you're on top of your shit. The she'll be right mentality even stacks up for the big guys.
Yeah, 100%.
What's your view on Labor's government doing, cracking down on same job, same pay, and having a crack at all these temp labour hire recruitment agencies?
Give me more context.
So the Labor government's come in and said whether you're a labour hire worker or you're working full-time, you have the same equal rights. So you should be accumulating full-time leave, sick leave, everything like that, adding costs onto the employer.
So if someone's working as a full-time employee,
yep,
for
so
$50K a year, or if someone's a contractor.
No, so say you're an employee and you're working in a warehouse, it doesn't matter what you're on, but you get full-time employment benefits.
Yep.
And then there's another company's put a temporary staffing member in there. They're on a casual, so they don't get holidays, they don't get sick leave, they don't get anything, but they're doing the same job 38 hours a week, and then they're going to go to a new place. The government's now saying that they should be same pay, same benefits as a full-time employee because they're doing the same job.
Well, it's a different structure, isn't it? Casuals get paid more than full-time.
Yeah, but they're
employees.
trying to bundle it all under together.
Yeah, well, I don't think that how I don't understand how that makes sense. Like, you could choose to be a casual and get paid an extra 10, 20% per hour than a full-time employee, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
So
you get your
can't have
benefits up front.
Yeah, exactly. You get a higher income as a casual per hour for the same job as you would being a full-time employee. So I guess it just depends. Do the casuals want to turn into full-time employees and take a pay cut on their hourly rate? I think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
No.
I actually did see a really good post in a headhunters group that I'm in, and I'll read it out to you. I think it's probably a really good idea and something that maybe not a lot of recruiters do. At the beginning of each quarter, I typically pull an extra 25 to 60K in perm fees out of new job orders per client. I do this by setting up quarterly reviews with clients. It's an account management play that I learnt from this lady who owns a big staffing company. Watched a podcast with her talking about it. In the quarterly review, we go over roles we've successfully filled, their plans for the quarter, and anything I've observed with them that may need fixing. Then they typically give me an extra job order or allow me to prepare for future stuff. I've been doing this for a year now, and it's been bringing in bank. So I don't know if this is a norm in recruitment, but I'm not sure how much of the account management side of things that 360 recruiters actually do. Like I get the sense that having an account management kind of call cycle where you call your clients every 3 months and just check in is probably not something that a lot of recruiters do.
Not to the extent and detail of that post.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And it's probably something that a lot of people are missing with their BD strategy is like the easiest way to get jobs is just by calling your existing clients. And I find that, speaking to a lot of recruiters, a lot of the times they're like, oh, you just got to hit the phones, BD, 100 calls, blah, blah, blah. And, they're doing high volume new business activity where, I wonder how often people just call the same client every 4 weeks.
Right. Well, let's chat about that because I was chatting to a recruiter the other day and I think, having a Dream 100, having a call cycle, having different forms of contact, like LinkedIn, calls, emails, handwritten letters, visits, whatever you need to do, and you just cycle those 100 people, 5-6 people at each company, there's 500-600 people you talk to every month, you're bound to get enough jobs where you're not going to have a fluctuation of work because, like, Greg Savage told us, he reckons this. Well, when did we do the podcast with him? He said
about a year ago.
Yeah, there'll be about. He reckons it's going to be a huge downturn.
Yeah.
And then it brings me to this post that Gemma Valentine put up. Great guest, great friend of the show. And it went off. Recruiters, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. If you do not like business development and you are in a 360 role, you are going to feel the pressure and struggle in the changing market ahead if you are not already. If you don't like BD and are struggling, I can still help you find a great role. But it won't be a 360 and the remuneration will reflect that. The gravy train has ended.
Wow.
That's a bit of passion from Gem.
Yeah,
yeah, I think
Gem.
that is really good.
Yeah.
So if everyone's freaking out about BD, like to me, it's just water off a duck's back. It's just a part of the job.
Yep.
I don't even understand how these people get into recruitment and think BD is not a thing. Because even if you're just a candidate manager, you still have to BD candidates. You still got to call people you don't know. You still got to develop things. I think recruiters just need to understand that there's more resources available than a spreadsheet and a phone.
100%.
But they need to appreciate that first before you add in all the auxiliary options.
Yeah. This is what I think. I think the last couple of years, a lot of people have gotten super comfortable. And this year in particular, the market has softened up. You can't just send out 10 cold emails and get 5 job orders now. You actually have to pick up the phone and be proactive and follow up and do what you should be doing as a recruiter to get clients. I found it in my guys in my office. The BD element right now for us is, I think has doubled or tripled since last year. Last year, it was just, you'd have to say no to 4 out of 5 clients because you'd had to have too many jobs. Now, we're actually like, hey, we're starting to get a little thin on job orders. I think it's time for you to implement some proper routine for BD, whether it be, call 10 clients every single morning before you start the job or whatever it might be. So it's going to be interesting the next kind of 12 to 18 months on who survives and who doesn't, because I love downturns and the hard parts because it just kind of washes out your competition. And as we know, it's not about how good you are, it's how long you can last. And the people that get all the business, that are just constantly chipping away at it, and they stay in the game, are the people that end up building a huge bank of clients over and above talent and ability. It's staying in the game and keeping it going and keeping consistent. So it's going to be interesting the next 12 to 18 months.
Yeah. And what would you suggest? So say you're a recruiter, you're siloed, even in your own agency, you're like, shit, I don't even have a mentor here. What would you suggest to them on how to get through these tough times and they're thinking about leaving the industry and they don't realise what they're about to give up? Would you have any advice for them?
I think they just have to reach out to people and talk to people and be proactive with networking. Just like anything, it'll feel a little bit weird to start with, reaching out to someone and just saying, hey, do you want to catch up for a coffee? But at the end of the day, you've got to put yourself out there and be in it.
You got to want it, hey?
Yeah, you can't make people successful. People either have it in them and they just need a little bit of guidance. Yeah, it'd be nice. You either have it in you and you want to succeed and you're being proactive about how to overcome your challenges, or you're sitting there waiting for people to spoon feed you solutions to all your problems. And if you're the person that's sitting there waiting for someone to spoon feed you the solutions to your problems, then you're not going to make it. Yeah. Whereas if you're being proactive and you're going, all right, I'm facing these issues, who can I reach out to? Like you had a girl reach out to you from Melbourne the other day saying, I've got zero culture and mentorship and training in my current agency. Would you mind, jumping on the phone to me once a month for an hour so I can pick your brain on how to overcome things? It's really weird that some recruiters don't get that in their current agencies. But she's doing the right thing by reaching out to someone externally and going, hey, I'd love your feedback. I'd love your advice. And obviously you're taking those phone calls, which is awesome. And so if there's anyone else out there,
I might give too many people the wrong advice.
You end up, everyone's going backwards that's talking to you. But just reach out to people and pick someone's brain and catch up with them and network and do your job. Do your job as a recruiter and get proactive and try and overcome objections when they happen is the best thing you can do.
Bloody oath, mate. And we've got a exciting milestone for our little old podcast.
What's that?
Mate, we got our first sponsor.
Oh.
So I don't reckon do we drop the bomb now or just wait till it's all here and ready?
I reckon wait.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got a sponsor. Does this make us legit?
I think that makes us legit. Don't we get advertising revenue from our podcast?
Yeah, we do.
30 cents a day or something?
Yeah, 30 cents per download or something.
No, mate.
We'd be millionaires. But no, I don't know the ad revenue, but I think it's $3.16 last week.
Oh, mate, that is awesome. Making $3 a week. That's offsetting.
That's reoccurring revenue.
That's offsetting the $1,000 a week we put into this podcast. So that's nice.
So yeah, this is exciting, mate. I'm really pumped up. I think everyone can benefit from this this sponsor.
Yep, okay. I agree. It'll be
See
really
if
cool.
Everyone gets around it. So yeah, we'll launch that next week.
Beauty, awesome. Anything else to cover off?
No, I'm just excited for Talent X. Follow the journey. We can't wait to build out confessions.tv. If you guys have any questions, make sure you jump on the hotline, leave a voicemail. We'll air it in the show.
Love it.
And keep building an awesome community.
That's
Sorry
it.
about the voice, guys.
Yeah, you're a bit sick, mate. You need to go home and have a rest.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you later.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to another Confessions of a Recruiter podcast with Blake and Declan. We hope you enjoyed and got a lot of value and insights out of this episode. If you do have any questions or you would like to recommend someone to come on the Confessions podcast, we would love any introductions. And remember the rule of the podcast: like, share, and recommend it to a friend. Until next time.